Hey, hello, listeners. You're listening to a mini episode of That's Auntertainment. This is a What's Jeff Watching mini episode. It's also the first What's Jeff Watching mini episode of 2024. It's also the first episode of any kind of 2024. So thank you for listening for another year. This is the 13th edition of What's Jeff Watching. Lucky number 13. We built a podcast building, and we did not skip episode 13. Hope you don't have triskaidekaphobia. Did I pronounce that correctly? I hope so. So on the What's Jeff Watching mini episodes, it's just me on the microphone, and the point of these episodes is just have a little bit of a check-in and say, here are some thoughts on some shows and some movies that we haven't covered on our main full-length episodes. I just felt like sharing my thoughts out, and if you happen to want to listen, then all the better. And sometimes Aunt Beth sends me her thoughts along as well. You know, it's just a quick encapsulation of what we've been catching lately. So this episode is kind of serving as an unofficial sequel to our last episode. Not the last What's Jeff Watching episode, but the last episode that Aunt Beth and I recorded together, which was our mini 2023 holiday special, where we spent a good chunk of that episode discussing our viewing plans for the holidays. So that episode came out right before Christmas. Now we're a few weeks after Christmas. So did we successfully watch what we were hoping to? Well, it's a work in progress, but mostly completed. I managed to watch everything that I definitely wanted to watch between December 25th and January 1st. Well, actually, even starting before December 25th. But yeah, there were some essential things on my viewing list that I absolutely wanted to check off before ringing in the new year. There's some other things that I'd hoped to get to, but haven't gotten to yet, but that's fine. They're still available. I didn't expect to get to all of them anyway. So here are some updates and some thoughts. So the main thing, I wanted to watch some Christmas specials and some Christmas movies, including ones I'd never seen before or ones that were newly released. So the two main ones were the Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special from back in the 80s and the new animated DC superhero Christmas movie Merry Little Batman, which is streaming on Amazon Prime, and I was able to watch both of them successfully. I watched the Pee-wee special while wrapping presents, and it was timed perfectly. It took me like 40 minutes to wrap all my presents, and that's how long the Pee-wee's Christmas was. So that's, maybe I'll do that again next year. We'll see how it goes. I'd be happy to. Merry Little Batman, I ended up watching that over the course of like 3 or 4 days. Just like half hour here, 10 minutes here. Just fitting it in between taking care of business and doing stuff with family. Just, watching other stuff. And no one else really joined me. Maybe my brother might have popped in for a few minutes, but we're just busy with family fun. So yeah, just to fit your viewing, your TV viewing in as you could. And then the other big to-dos were the new movies playing in the theater. And I think I made it clear that there were like at least 6 movies that I hadn't seen yet at the time we recorded our last episode that I absolutely wanted to see. And of those 6, I've seen 4 so far. I've yet to see Wonka Man, but I have seen Boys in the Boat, which is a pretty enjoyable sports biopic. Let's see, I saw The Iron Claw, another sports biopic, a little much sadder, although it ended on a rather uplifting note. I quite enjoyed the song that played during the end credits. I believe it's entitled Live This Way Forever, and I believe it was written for the movie. I'd love it if it got an Oscar nomination, although I think I read somewhere that it didn't make the short list of like the final 15 songs being in consideration. But it'll make my own personal Oscar list for this year, most likely. And yeah, Zac Efron was terrific. I think pretty easily my favorite performance of his. I also managed to see Wish, the latest animated Disney princess movie with Ariana DeBose in the main role. She didn't get great reviews. It hasn't been doing too well at the box office. I had to make sure I saw it before this when I did, or else it was going to be gone soon, and I would have had to just watch it at home on Disney Plus at some point in the future. But I'm glad I made it out to the theater just in time, because you know me, I love seeing everything in the theater, and it was pretty good. My hopes weren't high, although when I'd heard the bad reviews, when I'd heard the people who had seen it and what they didn't like about it, when they explained it, they made me want to watch it more. And then I went and actually saw it, and I'm like, oh, the things they were criticizing, I felt like they kind of exaggerated a bit. It was kind of just a straightforward thing. But what was really enjoyable about the experience, it's a family movie, so most of the crowd was families, and then me. There was I always stay through the end of the credits, and I think the only other two people who stayed through the whole time were this dad and his little girl who looked maybe 5 or 6 years old. During the credits, there's classic Disney characters, drawings of various Disney characters next to the scrolling names, and this girl's yelling out the names of the characters as she sees them. She's like, Tiana, Moana. And then there were a few that I don't think any of us recognized, but then I think I realized that one of them later was the main character from Atlantis, The Lost Empire, I think. Good job making the cut, Atlantis guy. What else? So those Boys in the Boat, Wish, and Iron Claw, I've actually seen them in 2024, but one I did manage to see before 2023 was on its way out completely. I saw on New Year's Eve, along with my parents and with, wait for it, Aunt Beth. When was the last time the two That's Auntertainment co-hosts actually saw a movie in the theater together? I should have looked this up beforehand. I'm going to look it up now. Hopefully I will find an answer quickly. I keep a record of who I see movies with, so I should be able to find this within a few minutes. Oh my gosh, it looks like it might have been the first movie that we saw together since the pandemic. Oh wow, it's been a while. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's been that long because we see a lot of the same things, but geez, when, and we talk about them too, but when have we actually in person seen something together last? Oh my gosh, I'm vamping. I don't want any dead air. But when was it? Oh my god, anyone want to guess? You can guess. I've already recorded this as you're listening, so I won't be able to hear you, but feel free to guess. Okay, it looks like, if I've kept accurate records, that the last time Aunt Beth and I saw a movie in the theater together at the same showtime, the same theater, the same location, was 8.5 years ago. June 24th, 2015, we saw Me and Earl and the Dying Girl at AMC in Chamonix. My dad came too. My dad accompanied us. I mean, when I said my dad came too, I didn't mean that he was unconscious and then came then his consciousness was revived. Although that has happened before. He has a history of fainting, as do I. But anyway, yeah, so Aunt Beth and I and my parents, we all saw Ferrari. I think we all enjoyed it. I'm not sure that my parents were that excited, or at least my mom wasn't that excited, but then we kind of convinced her. It was like, oh, well, there's stuff about his family life. There's a story about his wife and his mistress. Maybe you'll like you'll enjoy the emotional dynamics of that. But yeah, I think we all came out of it feeling like it was a good movie-going decision. So, and then we came back home, ate Sundays, and watched some football and the Twilight Zone marathon, and asked what channel Dick Clark was on. So yeah, so I'll be hopefully seeing Wonka and Aquaman soon, but there's also all the January releases coming out, and some of them are worthwhile. You can check my blog, jmoney.com, to see my reviews of all or most of these movies, like Mean Girls. That should be up by the time this episode is released. And you find out if those girls are still mean all these 20 years later. Are they still just as stiff and plastic as they used to be? Anyway, Aunt Beth and I, the Emmys are almost here. Right after the Golden Globes, and also right after the Critics' Choice Awards. Yeah, I mean, usually the Emmys are on their own in September, but now they're right in the thick of awards season in the middle of January this year. But Aunt Beth and I will have our regular Emmy reaction episode, barring some emergency. So hopefully no flooding or power outages. Fingers crossed. And in the meantime, as per usual, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can support us on Patreon, and you can keep your remotes handy and your eyes open.